Friday evening, everyone. It is Friday, which means I like to take a look at the longer range. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going to be a couple of amazing transformations in the weather pattern. Here we are looking at the GFS, and this is the 500 millibar heights. You can see the trough that was around, and this trough is going to be moving off the coastline. That's what gave us the chilly day during the day on Friday. I'm going to move this ahead. You can see a little ridging coming in over the weekend, and temperature's going to rebound. What I want you to focus in on is look, a little bit of a trough in Western Canada and the Pacific Northwest, and just this west to east flow across the United States. There's just a lot of Pacific air, and that usually spells mild weather for us during the winter months. So we are going to warm up. You can see the ridging that happens here as we head on into Sunday. And Monday, there's going to be a weak shortwave that moves through, cutting through the Great Lakes there, but it's not going to bring us any cooling. All the cold air is going to be pouring into the western United States. And there's Groundhog Day. I'm kind of excited that this year I'm not going to be freezing at Gobbler's Knob. Maybe a bit muddy, as I don't know if the ground's going to be frozen there, and there won't be any snow left on the ground there at Gobbler's Knob, just outside of Punxsutawney. All right, you notice what's going on Groundhog Day. Big trough in the west, starting to see a ridge poking up over Alaska. We are going to see some changes, and this trough is all associated with a storm system that's going to be moving across the middle of the nation, and eventually it's going to be shifting eastward, and there is going to be a front that's going to move across the area later next week. We get one shot of cool air next weekend, but if you notice, it retreats back. I don't think we're quite ready yet for a pattern change. Still, there's a lot of cold air. When you see this ridge poking up that much from Alaska up toward the North Pole, we're getting a cross-polar connection. So eventually cold air is going to be building into Canada. Initially, if you notice, the 500 millibar heights are not digging too far down into the United States here. I kind of agree with this. We're going to have a couple of cold shots, and then later in the month, there's kind of a setup going on where a lot of cold air is going to be building up in Canada. We should have a big Arctic high building up in here, and eventually chunks of it moving in. I think later in February, we're going to be switching our weather pattern a bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at 2-meter temperatures, and the cold air moves on out. Saturday morning's chilly. Saturday afternoon, we get above average, and look at this. Temperatures well above average. On Monday, a front moves through, dents us down a little bit for Monday night, but then Tuesday into Wednesday, warmth. In fact, I could see a squall line with some showers and thunderstorms move through with a front on Wednesday. And then you notice all the cold air building in the western United States. A piece of that is going to be coming our way, and it'll cool off a little bit for the weekend. But that isn't where the real cold air is going to be building in yet. I think it's more toward the latter part of the month. And look at that purple color. And yeah, we're going to have a warm up again. So we're going to be warm to about the 3rd, and we're going to cool off for a few days, and we're going to warm up again. But there is some real cold coming our way, and I think later on in February is where we're going to see. And I talked about that in my wintercast. There were a couple of things that are working out on the wintercast. I thought things were primed that we can get a big storm, got that. And I thought that the coldest weather compared to average would be during the month of February. And second half of February, it's going to make a run at that. I wanted to show you how the warmth is going to affect the snowpack. Here's the GFS snow depth, and you can see with the warm weather, there it goes. Now, I think there's still going to be some skiing, but you notice the hit it takes. And then there's the one big storm that goes from the Colorado mountains, blizzard-like conditions going to be affecting the plains early next week. So we lay snow in the middle of the country, and then when some cold air masses do move in, I do think we're going to see some cold air spill into the east. GFS, not big on any snow over the next 10 days, but watch when the pattern switches later in the month. That's when we're going to have cold. When you have it that cold, that's when we could have the chance for more in the way of snow, but we're going to lose a lot of snowpack before then. I have to thank Dr. Judah Cohen for putting this and posting this. I want to put this in motion, and what we're looking at is 10 millibar heights, and the polar vortex has. Let me try to stall this at a place. Okay, there we go. Now, the polar vortex is reorganizing close to the pole, and that's one of the reasons why I think we're going to have a warm up here in the beginning of February. But watch what happens. See that warming at 10 millibars? That will be setting in. There we go. We're still at the 6. So I don't think the pattern change happens yet. That's why I don't think, there's a lot of folks jumping on the cold air later next week. Yeah, there's going to be some cold shots. I don't think the pattern change comes till later in the month. And here we go. Look at this building and this warm advection that takes place over the pole by the 9th of February. That's still going to be, there's going to be a lagging effect. Watch what happens. Look at that warmth over the pole, and it splits the polar vortex. And the one thing that we will have to watch is a big chunk of that. One's going to go over Europe, one's going to go over the United States. The question that I still have is this going to make it all the way down to the United States? The stage is set. It's going to be cold later in February, but we do have to keep in mind that the MJO, the Madden-Julian oscillation, is kind of heading into a zone that says, oh, the cold's not going to penetrate as much. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But definitely the warming over the pole sets the stage that we could have some cold weather later in February. Okay, have yourself a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and tune in to tonight on WTAJ News at 11 for more details on more specifics of your shorter range forecast.